You're standing in the TSA line with a carry-on bag you've used for years. Same size, same brand, same routine. But this time, the belt stops. Your bag is pulled aside. An officer opens it, feels the seams, checks the frame, and sends you to secondary screening, without clearly telling you what went wrong. You didn't pack anything illegal. You didn't break a posted rule. And yet, this is happening to travelers every single day in 2025. What most passengers don't realize is that TSA didn't need to announce a ban to change enforcement. In 2025, certain popular carry-on bags are now quietly flagged because of how they scan, expand, or behave under pressure at checkpoints. In this video, you'll learn which carry-on bags are causing stops, why older travelers are affected the most, and how the system actually decides when your bag becomes a problem, even if it was allowed before. Most passengers believe airport rules only change when something is officially banned or announced. In reality, that's not how the TSA system works anymore. By 2025, airport security is no longer focused only on what is inside your bag. It increasingly evaluates how your bag behaves inside the system, how it scans on X-ray, how predictable its shape is, how long it takes to clear, and how often it creates uncertainty for officers under pressure to keep lines moving. This is where many travelers, especially those over 60, run into trouble. TSA operates on a risk and efficiency model, not a comfort model. If a type of carry-on bag repeatedly slows screening, triggers unclear images, or requires manual checks, it quietly becomes a problem, even if it remains technically allowed. And TSA does not proactively warn passengers about these shifts. Why? Because the system is largely request-based and enforcement-based, not education-based. Airports are not incentivized to slow operations to explain which bags are now inconvenient. Airlines are not motivated to clarify which carry-ons may cause issues at security. Silence keeps lines moving and responsibility shifted onto the passenger. For older travelers, this system is especially unforgiving. Many rely on familiar older bags. Many choose soft, flexible designs for comfort, and many assume past experience still applies. But in 2025, the carry-on you trust isn't judged by brand or size alone. It's judged by how easily the system can process it, and whether you quietly fit into its expectations or become a delay it needs to isolate. These are not carry-on bags that are officially banned. You won't see signs about them. You won't hear announcements. But in 2025, these are the types of bags that Transportation Security Administration and airport security systems increasingly treat as high-friction objects, meaning bags that slow screening, create uncertainty, and quietly trigger extra attention. That's why travelers using them are being stopped every day. 1. Soft-sided carry-ons with multiple layers and padding. What they are: soft fabric carry-ons with thick padding, overlapping compartments, and multiple internal dividers, often marketed as lightweight or comfortable. Why no one explains the risk. On X-ray machines, layered fabric and padding create blurred, inconsistent images. Officers don't see one clean outline. They see overlapping shadows. What happens if you don't know? Your bag is pulled aside, unzipped layer by layer, and manually inspected. This isn't suspicion. It's uncertainty. What experienced travelers do, instead, they use structured hard shell bags with simple interiors that scan quickly and predictably. 2. Expandable carry-ons, zipper expansion bags. What they are: carry-ons with a zipper that expands the bag outward when you need extra space. Why no one warns passengers? When expanded and fully packed, these bags lose a predictable shape. TSA doesn't measure them. It evaluates how they behave on the belt. What happens if you don't know? A bag that looks swollen or irregular often gets rescanned or opened, even if it technically meets size limits. What system-savvy travelers do: they never expand the bag before security. Expansion is only used after clearing the checkpoint. 3. Travel backpacks used as carry-ons. What they are: large backpacks with compression straps, metal frames, buckles, and thick back panels. Why they attract attention? Straps, buckles, and internal frames overlap on X-ray images, creating visual noise. The more components, the harder the image is to read. What happens if you don't know officers manually feel around straps and back panels, often slowing you down significantly? What experienced travelers do, they secure all straps tightly or avoid these bags during peak travel hours. 4. Carry-ons with built-in batteries or USB charging ports. What they are so-called smart luggage with integrated lithium batteries or external USB ports. Why enforcement changed lithium batteries remain one of TSA's most sensitive screening concerns. If a battery is not clearly removable or visible, the bag almost always triggers inspection. What happens if you don't know? You're asked to open the bag, locate the battery, and sometimes remove it, while the line waits behind you. What experienced travelers do? They remove the battery before entering the security line or use external power banks placed separately in the bin. 5. Older, deformed, or worn out. Carry-ons, very common among 60-plus travelers. What they are: bags used for many years with warped frames, sagging bottoms, or uneven shapes. Why no one talks about the security systems depend on predictable shapes. A bag that no longer holds its form produces inconsistent scan results. What happens if you don't know? The bag is classified as unpredictable, triggering a manual check, not because it's dangerous, but because it's hard to read. What experienced travelers do, they replace aging bags before the system forces the issue through delays in secondary screening. None of these bags are illegal. But in 2025, they conflict with a system designed for speed, predictability, and risk reduction, not passenger habit or comfort. If you understand how that system thinks, you stop being surprised when your perfectly fine bag suddenly becomes a problem. Both are over 60. Both arrive early. Both follow posted rules, but their experiences are completely different. The first traveler uses a structured, predictable carry-on, fewer compartments, no expansion, no hidden hardware. Their bag moves smoothly through the belt. The screen clears in seconds. They're waved through without a word. The second traveler uses a familiar bag, soft-sided, expandable, slightly worn. The bag hesitates on the belt. The image looks crowded. An officer pauses. The bag is pulled aside. Nothing illegal is found. But the outcome is already decided. The first traveler keeps the rhythm. They stay calm, move with the flow, and reach the gate early. The second loses time, composure, and momentum. Shoes back on, belt rethreaded, stress elevated. Sometimes the connection is tighter. Sometimes boarding has already started. This difference has nothing to do with rule breaking. It's the difference between fitting the system and forcing the system to slow down. Airports reward predictability. They penalize friction. For older travelers, the consequences compound faster. Extra screening means more standing, more bending, more pressure to rush afterward, and the system does not slow down out of courtesy. Those who understand how enforcement actually works aren't lucky, they're invisible to the system, and that's exactly the advantage. This is not about arguing with security, and it's not about demanding special treatment. It's about understanding how the system responds and positioning yourself so it never needs to react to you at all. Before you reach the checkpoint, your choices matter more than anything you say. Use a carry-on with a fixed shape. Avoid expansion zippers. Secure all straps. If your bag has a battery, remove it and place it visibly in the bin. These steps reduce uncertainty before the screen even lights up. At the belt, timing is critical. Don't rush your bag forward if the conveyor is backed up. Wait until there's space. A crowded belt increases scan errors, and your bag becomes part of the problem. If an officer pauses, stay neutral. Don't explain. Don't justify. Let the process work. TSA officers are trained to resolve uncertainty, not debate it. For older travelers, there is also a right most people never use. You can request assistance before secondary screening begins. A simple sentence matters. I'd like assistance if additional screening is required. This signals awareness without resistance. It often slows the situation just enough to prevent escalation, and it puts the responsibility back on the system to manage you properly. Finally, remember this. TSA enforcement in 2025 is not about punishment. It's about efficiency. When your bag creates no friction, you stop being noticed. And in a system like this, being unnoticed is the smoothest path through security. What happened to your carry-on in 2025 wasn't bad luck, and it wasn't a sudden rule you missed. It was the result of a system that quietly changed how it measures risk, speed, and predictability without explaining those changes to passengers. None of the solutions in this video require permission. They don't rely on kindness or exceptions. They are rights already built into the process. The right to assistance, the right to predictable screening, and the right to move through security without unnecessary friction. If this helped you understand how the system really works, share it with someone who still trusts an old bag out of habit. And if you want to stay ahead of the next quiet change, subscribe before the system changes again.